Dude.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
This is years in the making, 2 weeks into the discussion,
Yes.
and we're in it.
We're now in it. A week of some very interesting listening choices.
It's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we're doing it. For those of you joining us, if this is your first episode, if you skipped the intro, I'm your co-host, Brennan Mitchell. Co-host,
Jonathan Humphrey.
For just a little background, I'm a warehouse manager here in Savannah and a musician trying to become a full-time musician eventually. That's that's the dream. Podcaster, producer, artist, fucking
All around
ostrich
awesome
enthusiast.
I love it.
Jonathan Humphrey is a local bikini model. And
Yes. Part-time at the moment.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the summer to get in here. And
you're on strike, right?
yeah, I was. I thought I was going to get the Venus Swimwear sponsorship. And
Dude, I thought you were a dead ringer.
I thought so too, but I don't know. Litigation, I really can't talk about it right now.
Okay, I understand. I understand. We'll have the exclusive soon.
Yeah. It's hush hush right now.
Yeah. Dude, it's been a weird couple weeks. I got some backstory on your week. You sound like you've had a fucking ringer.
It's been one for the books, unfortunately. So, yeah. I mean, I had my beloved scooter stolen. Here in this city, it's we have just as many scooters, I believe, as people.
Yeah,
and,
it's one for one.
Yeah. And where I live, that's the best way to get around, and I think I look pretty cool on it. I always rode around on it like I was Fonzie,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's a scooter, a little 49cc. But someone decided they needed it more than me, and they stole it, up from my carport the other day. And in the course of hunting down some leads, my wife and I got food poisoning while we were eating some quick dinner the other night.
God damn it.
So it was not a local restaurant, but it was a chain. But I don't want to get.
Can we say the
trouble.
name?
I don't think we can say the name.
Can we say what it rhymes with?
We might be able to get away with that. We can maybe say what it rhymes with.
Yeah.
Maybe just describe it.
Maybe rhymes with Bendy's.
Maybe they might have a mascot that's a redheaded pigtail girl.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Might be located on Western Street in Savannah, close to the I-16 highway.
Yeah, I believe they're on a street that might be named after a very famous individual.
Yeah.
Who is no longer with us.
Dude, and fast food poisoning that's like
brutal.
I mean, what was it you told me earlier? It's like nothing like throwing up sober.
Yeah, that's a very telling thing, but it's very true.
Putting it on a t-shirt.
That's what I was telling the wife. I was like, I know how to throw up drunk like there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing up sober, that is horrible.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
I'm
me
glad
and her
you're
both back on.
You're enjoying your soda pop.
Yeah. I wanted a frosty soda pop
Because
me.
when you're in the throes of stomach issues, you don't really want a frozen soda pop.
No, not a frozen.
You need a day off, but it's good to see you're back.
Yeah, I'm feeling back to normal, whatever normal is. But but would you like to key us in on yours,
dude? So for the past, I was not supposed to cuss. I think I can go back. I think I can beep that. God, gosh darn it.
Well,
we're doing the Nice Boy 10 for YouTube's. Because apparently that's what I've keyed in on some of the other podcasts I listen to and stuff is they take 10 to 15 minutes of no swearing, and that kind of helps them out, like if they do have some ad revenue. And I'm not saying we're there yet. I mean, that we just started. But
we've obviously lost one sponsor right now in the fast food business.
But it's nice to get into the habit, I think.
Yeah.
So starting like mid-week January, it's been over a month now of just daily tooth pain, and I'm one of those people that freaks out about my teeth because I had a really bad experience when I was younger. When I was in my teenage years, I went for a dental checkup, and they said I needed like 8 fillings done.
Mm-hmm.
And those were my first fillings, with the drill and all that. So I come back in for a follow-up appointment, and like they're going to do all 8 that day.
Mm-hmm.
They get through like 3 or 4, and their compressed air goes out.
Mm.
So they're like in the middle of doing one of my fillings, and they have to do this like temp thing, and my tooth was sore. Like they got me back in as soon as they could, but it was just like ever since then, I've just had Dad should have cued me into being like way better about my teeth. I think it made me worse about my teeth, unfortunately. So from like 16 to like early 20s, really wasn't good. Should have been way better about dental hygiene. But the plus side is I started living with this guy who was my roommate. He's an older guy in his 50s or early 60s, and he did all of his own dental work. And I was privy to watching him perform his own dental operation. And when I met him, he only had 7 teeth. He had like 4 back teeth. 8, and then 9 or 10, something like that. Like 1 front tooth.
Sounds like he was really good at it.
He got him out of there, but that 1 tooth in the front started bugging him one night, and he had all kinds of issues and stuff, so he was on pain meds and shit, so it probably made it a little bit more easy.
Mm-hmm.
But what he would do is he took that front tooth, and he wrapped a piece of rubber around it, and then he took some claw grip pliers, gripped on the teeth, and then he would hit his fist. And I watched him try to do this like 7 or 8 times. Finally, he gets it out like all the way, and it it was like he seemed okay, but it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, well, like I got to start taking care of my teeth and like going to the dentist, like even though I'm afraid of them and I don't like it. It's either that or this wood shop dentistry. And I cussed again. Darn it! I'm gonna be better about it. You know what? This episode's on me because of all
you've just lost our entire church crowd.
We've settled up. And I tell you. So like my dentist, so through the course of this thing, I went for 2 weeks and seeing 2 different dentists, like same office, but like they're checking with each other, and they're like, "There's no reason why you should be in pain," and then just after 2 weeks, finally they get an x-ray at a specific angle. It tells them one of my back molars is dead and it needs to come out. So they perform a root canal beginning of last week. And I'm still in pain a couple days later. And not like, I've never had a root canal, so I couldn't describe, but it's like, I was texting my dentist. He was nice enough to give me his personal cell phone number. And I was like, how much pain should I be in? Because I'm eating Aleve, ibuprofen, Tylenol, like they're Tic Tacs. Like I am breaking the maximum dosage. I'm breaking that, like the hourly break. It's the only thing I can do to get through the day. So he has me come back in because it's odd. And he's like, oh, you have another dead tooth right next to it. And so then, I'm scheduled to get the crown put in on the first root canal he did. Luckily, like last Thursday, he was like, no, we're just going to root canal that other tooth. Like, we got to get you out of pain. It's been a couple days. I'm tentative because I still have weird teeth pain, but apparently a lot of dental work can cause that. It is better, but it's like, it's hard to be optimistic because this has been a back and forth of like, I feel better. I feel like I got punched in the mouth. And here's my theory on it. So what happened was back in December, I chipped this front bottom tooth. I go into the dentist. They perform a crown. And I go back in to get the permanent crown put on in like January, Christmas break, like pushed it back and all that. So I get the permanent crown put in, and a filling had fallen out of that very back molar.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm in there, he touches it up, and he whatever dentists do. And I think that's what caused the irritation on the dead tooth in the back. But because it's so close to the other one, there's like some it's hard to tell where the pain's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
He did a filling on that second to last tooth, and I think that's what started irritating that one. And then it was just like root canal. So I think
like a chain reaction.
I think that's what happened. And now it's like it's hard to not be like, if there's any other pain in my mouth, it's like, how many fucking dead teeth are there?
You just that paranoia sets in.
It sucks because, and here's for people who don't know, each root canal is $2,500 with the crown. So,
ouch.
But it's one of those things. It's like you can't not take care of it. It's not like you hurt your ankle and you can rest it. Like you need your mouth for everything.
Yeah.
To live. So it's just been. Here's the structure of the episodes. We're using this time, and I've messed it up royally to not swear.
Good job, Brennan. Thanks.
We're gonna recap the negatives of the week. We're gonna go through the content. The namesake of the show. That's gonna be the big middle portion, and then I think we'll wrap up with positives.
Yeah,
I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Get out all the negativity to make way for the thing that we're here for, the thing that we love.
Right, which could go either way, but no.
Right.
No, just
positive, negative, and then end on the positive notes.
Yeah,
but.
And just as on that, as we go through these songs that we are going to critique, keep in mind that we are taking all this very positively. This isn't anything against the people who created this music or the people
who like it
or the people who are fans of this music. This is opinion only, and
right.
So
yeah, and amateur opinions at that.
Very amateur opinions. So just keep that in mind. It's all fun.
Yeah.
So.
It's two guys who really love music. Mm-hmm. We thought of this fun thing we can do with it. It's challenging. It's
very challenging,
especially on your side of things as it stands right now.
Yeah, it was. But we'll get into that. But it's all opinions of people who don't have a degree in music or.
I got a degree in music.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do. Okay, from a guy who doesn't have
sound design.
I have a degree in being awesome. I'm just kidding. They kicked me out.
Yeah. They kicked you out. Yeah, you got fired from Bendy's.
Yeah, I got fired from Bendy's. I also don't have a degree in being funny, so just keep that in mind.
Dude, I'm so excited to do this with you.
I am too. I've been really after the week I've had.
Yeah.
It still couldn't bring me down because I was ready to get in here and do this today.
Dude, same.
I mean,
exactly.
Stealing nice things from me that I need, and crippling illness.
Yeah.
Still, I was like, nope, nobody's killing my vibe.
Yeah. It's kind of like we were talking about earlier. It feels like you and I are pregnant. This is our baby. We're finally, going to Le Mans classes or whatever it is.
We're getting that baby out.
Yeah. We're gonna nurture this baby. We're gonna take care of this baby. Hopefully, this baby makes us rich and famous. Yeah. And that's the goal. That's the dream.
And I like that analogy. I'll say this real quick about something else that's actually going on right now. My brother-in-law and his wife are having a baby as we speak.
Congratulations.
Not in the studio. They're in the hospital.
They're out back. Yeah. They're in the warehouse.
We left them in the truck.
We gave her a stick to bite on.
Yeah.
She's going to be fine.
Come on. But yeah, so hopefully everything goes well. Good luck, guys. Love you. I'm ready to be Uncle Johnny again. So
yeah. Uncle Johnny number 2.
3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we already have a beautiful niece and nephew from another in-law. So
dude, 3 times uncle.
3 times
Put that
uncle.
on a patch, put it on a shirt.
I will. I have yet another mind to corrupt. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's the proper age to introduce them to Slayer? Is that like 6 weeks?
6 months.
6 months?
Yeah. They can't get, they're not ready for that tempo at 6 weeks.
But 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Perfect.
Out of the womb. You're going to give that baby arrhythmia.
Yeah.
Dude, on music, let's get into it.
All right.
Here's another thing we were thinking is like eventually getting like one of those challenge coins.
Yeah.
Like a limit on one side, record on the other. I looked into it. I think if we put in an order for they had like the sizing options and stuff, and like for like 50 coins at like 1.5 inches, which is like That's about an inch and a half. Like that's a pretty decent sized coin. We could do like 49 of those, and then for us do like a 3-incher, and then like that's our coin, and then we just give the
little ones out.
Yeah,
like
yeah. Like, but that'd be a good way to get into like just to pick. But how do you want to do it this time? I have no opposition to anything.
I don't either, and I don't have a coin on me because.
I think I got a pick.
Okay.
Heads and tails?
Sure.
Call it in the air.
Heads. And it is
Tails.
It's tails. So you're first.
Do I go first or do I defer?
It's up to you.
We didn't even discuss the rules of the coin flip.
Yeah, we're and I don't know. We're gonna do this kind of on the fly, but I was thinking you do a song, I do a song, you do a song.
I like it.
That way, break it up. That way, you don't get like 20 minutes of airtime, and I'm just over here.
Well, I'll talk about.
I'm over taking a nap.
Talking about them Jonas Brothers all day. Oh. I can spend 20 minutes on the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, they're going to be our special guests next week.
They're coming in.
Yeah, they're going to come in. Can't back that up, but
so I'm going to say, dude, let's start it off. Let's start it off. Number one song in America right now, Olivia Rodrigo, "Driver's License." So this, I think, in terms of the music that we pitched this week. It couldn't have been more perfect for like the inaugural episode to like have music farther apart.
Yes.
than this. And I thought, what better way to start than with the top 3 songs in America? Because I mean, that's kind of, I think that gives us a good indication on what's popular. And like it worked out perfect because you were kind of looking back to some stuff. I was in the very right now. It kind of shows us where America and a lot of countries are in terms of their music taste. Yeah. So Olivia Rodrigo's "Driver's License," and I didn't give you any challenges for any of the music I pitched this week. I just wanted you to watch the YouTube videos. Yeah. And dude, first impressions. Tell me about it.
First of all, I've never heard of this young lady, and I did some research after I listened to the song and watched the video, and I know why I never heard of her. She was a Disney Channel star and all that stuff. The song itself, she has a very pleasant voice.
I would agree.
And normally I wouldn't base anything on the music video. It was, just the music video was just kind of like run of the mill. I wasn't really impressed with the visuals of the music video, so I really won't get into it too much. The song itself, first of all, I want to say that I was very impressed that it only had 2 songwriters. It was her and her producer are the ones who wrote the song. Yeah. And when we live in an era where you have, 15 people writing a song and it's still not great. Yeah. The song was kind of a very low-key ballad. I feel like, we've all kind of been there as far as the lyrics. If you guys don't know the song, it's basically a breakup song. This girl has broken up with her boyfriend. He broke up with her, and all she can talk about is how they were going to get their driver's license and be able to drive around and spend the summer together, as young couples do. And he apparently broke up with her right before she got her driver's license, so now she's so brokenhearted. She's driving around in his neighborhood, I'm guessing, and just thinking about things, typical teenage stuff. Lyrically, it sounds like it was written by a teenager. I mean, I don't mean that in a negative way. Yeah, it definitely was. And it's honestly, to me, I think as far as who this song is written for, if you're older than like 14 years old, this is totally not anything I think is up your alley. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just, they're very adolescent lyrics. But, I mean, teenagers and tweens, they need breakup songs.
Are you telling me that you do not relate to this 18-year-old pop Disney princess?
I don't. And
or her honestly, experience?
Yeah.
Have you never been in love, Jonathan?
Actually, when I was about 16, 17.
When your boyfriend broke up with you in high school.
I had to change schools. No. When I was 16, 17, I actually went through my first real breakup. But when I was 16 and 17, my breakup actually album, oddly enough, was Alice in Chains' Dirt
Interesting.
and Stone Temple Pilots' Core.
Okay.
Um,
That's what got you through.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So,
So-
you like that's what got you weren't like, oh, I see. Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, you get the correlation. I was not listening to music like
Red light, green.
this. Maybe a little Testament was thrown in there.
That bridge hits hard, man. I gotta say, dude.
But I will give her this. I mean, it's a well constructed, nice little simple song,
Yeah.
and I mean that in a complimentary way. I'm sure, especially a female
Mm-hmm.
in the teen tween ages probably could really enjoy this song, because when you're that age, and I remember this, when you're 16, 17 and you go through your first breakup, you're never going to find love again.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, I just had Lane Staley screaming in my ear to help me get through it. and not this style of music. But I'm not a fan of this style of music, but I applaud her for basically writing the bulk of this song. I think her producer just kind of tweaked it with her.
That's kind of seems what it That's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah.
But I mean, this song smashed all kinds of records. I mean, like youngest female artist to like top the charts that way. Like,
yeah,
it chart. I could be wrong about this. Again, Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't no research paper.
Mm-mm.
But it's certified double platinum. It came out January 4th, so
yeah,
less than 2 months ago.
Yeah,
and this is a weird fact. It broke the single most plays in one day as a non-holiday song on Spotify. She crushed all kinds of streaming platform records. I mean, I think in terms of like when you talk about an audience who's consuming popular music right now, this was like the perfect age range kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
It was really well constructed. It's really clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of like, I think attractive elements like sort of like these dreamy kind of transitions from verse to chorus to bridge. I mean, that bridge is massive.
Yeah,
and I think the reason why it's so successful is because it speaks to so many people, and that's what pop music is. Yeah. It's popular because it's in the zeitgeist. It's what people want to hear, and for me, I actually really liked it. I felt like I could. Here's what I'll say: whoever broke her heart is regretting that shit now.
Oh yeah,
but she wouldn't have gone double platinum had he not broken her heart. So I feel like she owes him some money. That's just my misogynist.
Rub his face in it. That's what she.
That's
should
my
do.
Misogynist point of view. No,
go full Stevie Nicks. Make him, put his face.
Yeah. Speaking of Stevie Nicks, I saw this meme, and I'm sure people have seen it, but it was one of those like typed out ones, like nobody. Mm-hmm. Or it was like somebody. What if we took a group of people that hated each other, put them in a room full of guitars and cocaine, and Fleetwood Mac? First of all, yes. But I like the song. I really enjoy it. I think the majority of people like the song.
Yeah, well, obviously.
To speak to the songs that I pitched to you this week, I did offer you an apology.
Yeah, you
and
did.
that is the one apology you get. And it's not because I feel like I'm pitching you bad music. I just know that it's music you wouldn't enjoy.
Right.
But that's the fun of it.
And honestly, and we'll get to it, I don't think this is the song that you should have apologized for.
This wasn't the song I apologized for. There's a song that I
we will get to that
for.
in due time. But
I let's just say 1 and 3 I don't apologize for. 2 I apologize for.
I was about to say there's 2 that you do not have to apologize for. There's 1 that you do, and we will.
I've apologized.
But I took it with a grain of salt. I was not offended.
It just happened to be number 2.
Trish told me when I was listening to him, she said, "This is what you signed up for," and I said, "You know what? You are absolutely right. I love it. This is great. This is a challenge."
Yeah, but it's a labor of love.
It is.
And just for reference, I mean, and people are going to figure this out based on your pitches. Mm-hmm. You're not to say you have a niche category of music that you like, but pop music, especially modern pop music, is not your wheelhouse. It's about as far from it as you can get.
Yeah.
I'm the more just let as kind of a single hunter and a deep diver, it's like I'm kind of just game for whatever.
Right.
And
right.
I'm not going to not that you're closed off or
No,
closed-minded.
no,
It's just
no means.
I'm the guy that can look at the painting of the guy who spun the canvas and threw up on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll find some element of that I'll like.
Yeah.
Whereas you're just going to stare at that dude and be like, dude.
Sometimes.
That's kind of that's in terms of how we express or how we listen to music to express ourselves.
Right.
That's the difference is we're both we both love music. We both are very open-minded to it. I think you just, how do I put it? Because like I said, you're not closed off from it. You're not an asshole about it.
No. It's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just not used to it.
Yeah.
Like with this song in particular, and I'll make the statement to kind of close this song out. I enjoyed, and I mean this as a compliment, I enjoy the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think some songs are very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this a song that I would have listened to on my own? No, the song wasn't written for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was written for you, more power to you.
It was written for me.
Yeah, I think it was.
Well, here's the thing: is I had a lot of, I had a connection with this song just because I felt like I was on the other end of it. Because I broke a girl's heart in high school, and don't get me wrong, I would have rather her gone and made this song than do what she did because she screamed through my mailbox, and my father had to threaten to call the cops on her. But that being said, a lot of positives can come from a breakup. But I wrote songs when I was that age. I was the dude. I was the dude putting in that work to try to So I can empathize with the other side of it.
Yeah. I can too.
Thank God the girl that I broke up with in high school didn't go double platinum within a couple years of our breakup. I'm assuming she got her driver's license at 16, 17. So it's been a year or two. Yeah. And then she goes double platinum. It's it kind of seems like it was worth it.
Yeah. I mean, at least something good came of this.
Dude, something real fucking good.
Yeah.
God damn.
But,
and I text Sam to break up with me so I can go double platinum.
Yeah. I don't think it works like that at our age. Well, maybe not at my age. Yeah.
Don't squash my dreams, Jonathan.
You do that. I'm not texting my wife anything like that.
Disney
even
pop princess.
Even joking because I don't want to have to pull all my records out of the front yard.
Yeah.
After she set fire to them.
Dude, I'm gonna get in people's face about me being a Disney pop princess. I'm gonna put my hand on your chest. I'm gonna walk into those corporate offices. You can't tell me. I'm keeping the beard, but anyway, like you said, capping off the song, driver's license.
It's
thumbs up from me, man.
I mean, it's not for me, but if for anyone that this falls into their category, if you're of a certain age, and you know what this feels like, then I would give it a recommend. Mm-hmm. Even though it's not.
This is gonna be on so many girls
girl.
breakup playlist. They're gonna their 15-year-old boyfriend's gonna break up. They're gonna break up with them. And your driver's license got me through that time.
You'll be quoting this in the yearbook and things like that. So, but yeah, for
now I drive alone past your street.
Yeah, you're kind of stalking. But,
But there's
we all did that at that age.
There's legal things that can prevent you from doing that.
Yeah,
don't violate your restraining order,
as long as she stays, as long as she stays in her car.
She's pushing it.
She is.
Those sheriff's deputies aren't playing.
She's 18 now, so she's tried as an adult. She
Olivia,
needs to remember that.
don't be the bigger person. Don't scream through his mailbox.
Just make another song.
His father's a good man, but he's not a nice man. Dude, moving on. Let's do it.
On. So the first one that I threw at you.
Pick it.
I've got it right here. It is the song is called "This Is Not an Exit."
Yes.
By Big Four thrash band Anthrax. It's off their what would be considered their comeback album in 1993 called "Sound of White Noise." Comeback album as in they had just changed lead singers. They had fired longtime singer Joey Belladonna, who was considered part of the classic lineup, and hired on former Armored Saint vocalist John Bush. And I feel like they created something quite amazing with John Bush. He is no longer with them. They got rid of him and actually brought Joey Belladonna back.
Mm-hmm.
But Sound of White Noise kind of gave them their first taste of success. It had the single Only, which I'm sure anyone who's my age remembers when Only came out. It's a great heavy metal song. James Hetfield actually called it the perfect metal song.
Interesting.
But a lot of this record is all good deep cuts. And this one in particular, I really enjoy it because it's a good, fast, thrashing song. Also, and I don't know if you picked up on this, the song is written about the novel American Psycho.
Interesting. Okay, I like kind of did some diving into some people's thoughts on it, and some people said like Interview with a Vampire series or something, and some people, but like people were making a novel connection.
Yeah, in fact, the last line in the novel is "This is not an exit." That's the last line in the book.
Okay.
Is "This is not an exit," and this is now. Keep in mind, this is about the book. This song came out in 1993. The movie didn't come out until 1999.
Mm-hmm.
So and Anthrax was always good about, they liked writing about like Stephen King novels.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to write this really cool song about a book that most people weren't familiar with until the movie came out many years later, but it's basically verbatim, like the last part of the book, American Psycho.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
But I mean, how did it tickle you?
First impressions?
Yeah.
I had to get used to it a little bit, and this is typical of me with metal music. Is I always like the instrumentation because I view it just kind of as like, don't hate me for saying this, but like beats for hip hop. Like I always like the instrumentation because I just love music, and that's what I love metal for. And what can kind of make or break it for me is like, maybe the vocals can sometimes make or break it for me, and sometimes like how the song's constructed. But, so I listened to it the first time. I was like, okay, I definitely wouldn't rank this highest on like my list of all time favorites. But then I had, I wanted to like, I'm not going to write it off like that. I'm the single guy. You're the deep cut guy. I was like, I have to put myself in that mindset. So had a super nice day, Wednesday, first sunny day that was actually warm. So I created, by the way, I created a playlist for us on Spotify. So
Perfect.
People can follow that. It's just going to be the acronyms of our show, LSD, and then C in parentheses.
Perfect.
I thought it'd be LSD, parentheses. And and excuse us while we go hang ourselves. But I was walking around. I made the playlist of my songs that I pitched, your songs that you pitched. So there's 6 songs on the playlist in total, and I was like, I'm gonna just walk around with my shirt off like a tough guy and go fight somebody. And I found this old lady. No, and so I was just walking around trying to build up a base tan because, as you can see, I got some fluorescent skin. You can see almost down to the bone, and I listened to it again, and I was like, I'm going to put myself in John's shoes as not as old as I would have been in 94 when this came out. 94? 93?
93.
So I would have been 1.5. And
okay.
So
I was 40.
So I put myself, but like I put myself in the shoes of like, I'm going to a show and I'm seeing Anthrax, and they're good within the circle, but maybe not as well known as they will eventually become. Like, and I listened to it. I was like, I'm getting that fucking mosh pit when this is not an exit. So I was like, okay, I know what this is, because I think, a lot of times you experience bands where they write this thing and it makes them massively successful, and then they just try to recapture that bottled lightning over and over and over again, and it just never quite works out. This isn't that. This is them having fun. This is them being artists. This is them experimenting. This is what a lot of, I feel like, metal at that time was doing, which is like, how do we make that? How do we bottle that lightning? Yeah. And that's what this was, because it's like, it's got some tempo change stuff in there. It's got some rhythm change stuff in there. I really like the percussive breakdown for just those like 8 bars or 16 bars of music.
Mm-hmm.
I really started to enjoy it. I really started digging the vocals, sort of that kind of like grungy era, like holding notes in the beginning and then the like really thrashy, like almost just spoken word kind of stuff at the end. Like I found love for this song.
Okay, good.
I started having fun. I saw it for what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one thing that I'll say with like a lot of the music that I make, I'm not that like I'm not a formulaic guy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do something different every time. And I think that's what's so cool about this song is it's very different from a lot of metal music that I have listened to. Like I think they did take a lot of creative risk, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and
it's actually different from a lot of stuff that's on that actual album.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
I'm hesitant to like look further into bands sometimes because I want there to be the possibility of you still pitching songs because like that'd be great to hear another deep cut off of this album. So I didn't want to, and not next week, but I wanted that option available. But I've actually seen Anthrax live.
Yeah.
My buddy and we went down to Orlando. We saw Slayer, and there was a bunch of bands playing, and Anthrax happened to be the third band. And here's a little sidebar, but I felt kind of sad about this because all the bands that play, there's like 5 bands, and I'll go through them eventually. But one of the other pitches this week was another band, so I'm going to save that surprise. They all had the backdrop, behind the bandstand, like with their like logo and like a cool graphic. And I felt so bad about this. Anthrax's was so cool because it was like all these skulls with like, I think I'm remembering it correctly, it was like crowns, and there's just like a cool kind of like pattern, like almost like a print pattern. But the saddest thing was like in all 4 corners of the backdrop was a Monster Energy logo.
Oh,
and I was
gosh.
like, oh no, like, because I think as you spoke, they're like one of the 4 pillars of metal music. I feel like Anthrax gets the short end of the stick a lot. Like I feel like they're like kind of the redheaded stepchild because people have and the Megadeth fans, the Slayer fans, the Metallica fans will go to war for their number one. But it's always, I always feel like the Anthrax guys are like people are like, just get out of here.
Yeah, they get a lot of that. And be honest with you, this era of Anthrax with John Bush as the singer, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but that's my favorite era. And I grew up on the original era, the thrash era. I loved what John Bush brought to the band. And kind of a well-known fact, you might know this, when Metallica was recording their second record, Ride the Lightning, John Bush is the one they asked to take over as lead singer.
Really?
So James Hetfield could concentrate on playing guitar, and John Bush turned them down because he was still in his band, Armored Saint, which is another great metal band you'll probably have to listen to soon.
Yeah.
But it's just because he's got his voice has not changed in like 40 years. Like John Bush still has that raspy, like bluesy metal voice. It's like this kind of sounds like the kind of guy that chugs whiskey and smokes, unfiltered cigarettes all day long.
Yeah.
It's just that permanent, awesome, like gravelly voice.
Got to do what you got to do to maintain, brother.
Yeah, and he may or may not do that. I don't know, but if he does, it's still working for him.
Yeah.
So
correct me if I'm wrong. So Metallica, Northern California.
Yeah.
Same with Slayer.
Slayer's Los Angeles.
Slayer's Los Angeles, but Megadeth was in that Northern California area as well.
Megadeth is actually Los Angeles
as well. Okay, and then Anthrax is East Coast, if I'm not wrong.
New York City.
Okay, yeah. Do you think that plays into it, like the distinction at all? Because like those guys on the West Coast are kind of, and obviously why can't I think of his name? The lead of Megadeth.
Oh, Dave Mustaine.
Dave Mustaine. He was in Metallica, got kicked out, and there's a rivalry there. Like, I always feel bad for Anthrax because I really enjoyed their set.
Yeah. I would
have given them high fives. I would have been like, "Good set, dude." Like,
I saw them back when they still had Bush in the band, and I think I touched on this a while back, but it was a great show. But it was when the bottle got thrown on stage.
Oh, and Scotty Ian freaked out.
Yeah, and they ended the show early. But But yeah, but I think with the difference in like the West Coast bands and then Anthrax is they were influenced by a lot of the same British metal, but their punk influences are what you have to look at. The West Coasters were influenced by West Coast punk and hardcore.
Okay.
And the New York bands were influenced by more of your New York punk, New York hardcore style, which are different, obviously.
Right.
And so that's where it kind of changed.
Okay.
While their sound was a little bit different.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got like Metallica was heavily influenced by the likes of like Iron Maiden and Lizzie. And Anthrax was influenced more by Kiss, the Ramones. So, you know, you get that little contrast in their sound. It's still good sound either way. And Slayer was just birth of the devil.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And Megadeth was influenced by heroin. But I'm kidding. I love Megadeth.
And jazz.
And heroin and jazz.
Heroin
Yeah,
and
they
jazz.
did have a lot of jazz drummers and musicians. But so,
I feel like you needed it for some of that music Mustaine was writing.
yeah.
Such underrated writing.
Oh, very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
One day I'll find some Megadeth deep cuts for you, but
Yeah.
those are hard to come by because, I mean, Megadeth
Well,
is...
luckily for you, the only album that I'm really familiar with, like outside of the hits, is like Symphony of Destruction, and I feel like that was like one of their bigger albums.
Yeah, that was...
So I'm not going to know a lot of Megadeth.
well, we're going to work on that, son.
And I, you know, I've absolutely heard it, but I might not remember it. Like they're not a band I typically listen to. I don't really listen to. I mean, any of them. I mean, really, because again, the metal is not a music I really deep dive in. A couple of I mean, obviously we've talked about Tool, Gojira. They're new. They're a little
they have a new
newer.
record coming out.
Yep. Lamb of God. Stuff from like more of that era, which I feel like is like they were the guys kind of taking over after Slayer and Megadeth and Metallica kind of like not peaked, but on their rise. That's when these other bands kind of started rising, just because of my age.
Yeah, they're the next level. They're the
Right,
next step.
right.
Yeah.
The next generation.
Yeah, the next generation. And it's just a natural progression.
Right,
So,
right.
you know.
So, and like, I mean, a lot of the in-betweens I'm not super familiar with, like like Pantera, anything along those lines. So a lot of deep cut opportunities in the metal sphere.
Well, we will definitely poke that bear.
All right.
Because there's a lot in there.
I'm down.
All right, so let's get your final words on this while I get prepared for the inevitable.
I think just kind of speaking to what I was just talking about, I think this is if you're not gonna commit to something like we've committed to with this podcast, I think this is a hard sell for people from my generation in terms of like I'm sure there's the guys my age who are just fans of the classic and the new stuff, and they just love it and they bathe in it and they brush their teeth with it. But metal is so different now that this just is like, I don't think somebody would like stumble upon this. But that's kind of the. This is a deep cut,
and it's a very deep cut.
But I will say this: I like it now. I had to learn to love it. This was not love at first sight.
No.
This was I had to find things I liked about it. But I'm really glad I did, and I think that's kind of the point of the podcast is like falling in love with music that you might not necessarily like. Because I had to listen to this song, I think I got some inspiration from it, as opposed to like had I heard it on a algorithmic playlist, I may have skipped it.
You probably would have. I mean,
So.
and that's why I chose that deep cut off that album, because it's not an instant love.
Yeah.
And there's a reason, like, that's the last song on the album.
Yeah.
Like, that's the very end, and I think it was just one of those where it's definitely one that it's either going to grow on you or it's not. But it's not. Even me as a fan, that wasn't immediately like, oh yeah, this is the best song on the record, or it had to grow on me also.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the rhythm is different. There's a lot going on,
Yeah.
and then there's not a lot going on.
Yeah. But I would definitely, I would say, in terms of who I would recommend this for, if you're somebody like me who listens to a lot of the, not new metal, but the newer metal that's out here now, and you want to kind of look back and take a dive into some of these deep cuts, this is a good spot to do it. Like a record like that, a song like that, that's a cool spot to try to get. Like, I would say if you don't like this song, you're probably not going to like a lot from that era. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, this was, and actually I'll touch on this more with another song in a little bit, but this was kind of that era where for a short period of time, and it's all based around when Metallica's Black Album came out in 91, heavy metal bands that weren't normally on the radio were starting to put out these albums that were on the radio, and Anthrax kind of caught the tail end of that. Everyone thinks that grunge took over in 91, but there was actually a parallel between grunge and that style of music. I hate that term, but I'm just going to say it to lump them together. But at the same time, Metallica's Black Album came out at the same time, and that had bands like Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and other bands that weren't normally on the radio. They had their time. The only thing that grunge killed was the hair metal. It didn't do anything to what used to be thrash metal. But yeah, there's another one on the list that we'll get to that it falls a lot stronger in that category.
And why don't you like the term grunge, if I might ask?
It's too broad of a term. And I don't mind the term. It's just,
do you think people just kind of use it as a catch-all, especially now?
Yeah, it's a catch-all. Just like the Seattle sound.
Yeah.
And I've seen like people where they had these groups of all Seattle bands, and there's like bands that aren't even from Seattle.
Yeah.
That they'll throw in there, and I'm like, well, these guys aren't even from Seattle or from
fucking Portland.
yeah. Or these guys are from Los Angeles.
Same.
Yeah. So it's not the same, and it's like comparing, Pearl Jam to I don't know, even Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both great bands, but they
very different styles, very different philosophies.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a fair thing. I mean, Sir Mix-a-Lot was from Seattle. Is he grunge? Well, he was pretty cool though. But
I think
I'm not dissing Sir Mix-a-Lot. But
I was just thinking about the question. I would say yes. Was he from Seattle?
Yeah.
90s?
Yeah.
Grunge.
Well, late 80s.
Grunge.
Sir Mix-a-Lot. He's from Seattle.
Starbucks.
The presidents of the United States of America, Lump, they're from Seattle.
Grunge.
Jimi Hendrix is from Seattle. Grunge. Heart is from
early
Seattle.
grunge.
Queensryche is from Seattle.
Early grunge.
All right, we were getting way off on here. All right, recommend or not? Oh, or you already said you.
Yeah, absolutely.
you
no,
did.
I think if you have I'm a big believer in knowing your history. And if it's a style of music you love, and I'm not one of those people that's going to bash you if you show up wearing the band shirt. Like, what albums do you know? What songs do you know? Kind of shit.
That's kind of how we met, but we'll get to that.
I think if you love stuff, you love stuff. And
right.
This is a great thing to look into. If you are a metal enthusiast, if you like hard rock and if you like thrash metal, look at the roots. Like, look at where shit comes from. Because, like, I hate it when people do the whole, like, for example, this person on Facebook one time was like, this is a little outside of the wheelhouse, but he was saying he couldn't believe that some people thought Tupac was better than Kendrick Lamar. And I had issue with that because how do you compare the two? They're two different eras. Like, Kendrick was like 9 when Tupac died. Something like that. So it's like, it's sort of, for sports analogies, it's like comparing guys that didn't play in the same era. And this is like sort of like, if Anthrax sucks, like they're not as good as, I mean, and I know they're still playing, they're still active, but in terms of like the music they were making in the 90s, well, that informed the music they're making in 2014 and 18 and even now. Like all of this is linear and a very complex web of influences. So to just write stuff off, I think is closed-minded. And I think the best way to appreciate music is to learn where the music you love come from. So I would definitely recommend this.
Okay.
Sorry,
awesome.
that was a long-winded way of saying it.
Okay. Now I guess it's time to get to the
if it's up, then it's up, then it's up,
elephant
then
in the
it's
room.
stuck. If it's up, dude. Don't tell me you didn't like this song. My second pitch to you, number 2, Cardi B's Up.
No, Cardi B is the first one on the list of 3 that I'd heard of her. I had the pleasure of becoming familiar with some of her music over the summer.
Dude, there's a Kids Bop version of WAP, by the way.
Dude, there's
Wings and pizza. I half thought about doing WAP in a couple weeks, but I was like, I mean, nah.
Don't.
I mean,
And that
is kind of, but now that you said don't, now you made me want
you're
to.
gonna make me listen to that song again.
I will just say this. This song came out February 5th.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a week after my dental pain started. Coincidence? I think not. Dude, first impressions.
I'll be honest with you, I absolutely hate it. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Not
Give me
just
your refined.
Not just to jump on the bandwagon of people who don't like Cardi B. Like I said, I don't know anything about her. Number one, and this is one of those songs where I listened to it, watched the music video. I looked up the lyrics, read the lyrics, and I'm looking here now, and it took 6 people to write this song. 6 people wrote this song, okay? Even after reading the lyrics.
Those people are Cardi B, Jordan Thorpe, Joshua Baker, producer DJ Schwanko, Young Dizza, and Sean Island.
Yes.
Gotta give credit where credit's due.
I still did not get this song. I mean, I get the gist of it.
I made you watch the music video.
I know
too.
the music, and the music video was just honestly, it was a generic, flashy hip hop music video.
It's kind of like that, like Willy Wonka sort of very hyper colorized and
just anything that can shock you, they threw it in there, and that's how I'm kind of looking at this. The lyrics, are full of shock value, or wannabe shock value than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I don't know of an adult who would be singing along to this song. Well, maybe you. This literally, lyrically, this is okay. These lyrics, honestly, make Steel Panther sound like Bob Dylan.
Okay. Yeah.
And they have some of the most adolescent pedestrian lyrics in the world that are
yeah.
also very filthy. But I love Steel Panther because it's not so much.
Mm-hmm.
And you know me, I have a high tolerance for anything. It just felt like she was just pulling out the full bag of tricks of what words and statements can I throw out here to be shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And it just came over as
sort of like hypersexualization.
Very.
Okay.
And it didn't have anything to it. I mean, it was literally just a bunch of words and that was it. I mean, I still have no idea what she was talking about other than the obvious things she's talking about, but I don't know what the context is.
Yeah. It's really fast too. It's hard to like.
Yeah, that's why I had to read the lyrics. And even then I was just like, okay, this is, I'm sorry. I don't mean, I know I sound like I'm just being really
You kind of
mean.
you need one of those like Disney music videos with like the little ball that helps you like with what she's saying.
There was
it's
just,
so fast.
And this, I'm sure this is for someone.
Yeah.
Like there's a fan base for her, obviously.
Oh yeah, it's
she's
number
very,
2.
very popular. Yeah. I don't know who those people are. And if you love this song, that's awesome. That's great. I just, there's absolutely nothing that I could bring out of this song other than, let's see how many, I don't even know the word I'm looking for right now. It's like beyond shocking. But then the thing is, it's not even shocking. Like
you can't be shocked because it's so shocking.
Yeah, well, the words, I mean, you can hear people say these same words on the street and they're like 10 years old. Mm-hmm. You're not shocking me as a woman who's, I'm guessing she's 20s maybe. Maybe she's in her 30s.
I think she's in her 30s, yeah.
I mean, these are words that you hear on the playground and sentences you would hear on the playground. And
what playgrounds are you hanging out at?
public schools.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't hang out on playgrounds anymore. But,
yeah.
30 years ago.
Very. Let's be very clear about that.
Yeah, and I don't even want to go over her lyrics.
LSDC does not hang out at playgrounds.
No, because I want us to get, I don't want us to lose any monetization we might ever get. But yeah, I found nothing redeeming about this song. It's just, to me, it was a struggle to listen to it. But if this is for you,
it's the one apology you get.
Yeah, and it took 6 people to put this together.
There's a lot of words, though.
But it was a lot of the same words. And people say, well, she's being a strong woman, and she's okay. Let me give you an example of someone who predates her and who was also a strong woman and who was also very frank in a lot of her songwriting and lyrics. A wonderful young lady by the name of Lita Ford.
Not familiar.
Okay.
I mean, tell the audience who
Lita Ford
is.
She started out life as one of the guitar players for the Runaways in the 70s. And when she branched out on her own, she is back in the 80s, we addressed her as the godmother of heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
If Ozzy's the godfather of heavy metal, Lita Ford is the godmother of heavy metal. And she was just raw, out there in your face. She was a woman who wasn't afraid to write the same kind of songs that her male counterparts were writing.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it with, she's a guitar slinger. She's just tough. She was like she would beat you up on your first date.
Mm-hmm.
And you would be like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a crush on Lita Ford.
Okay.
But, she had the song Kiss Me Deadly in the
Oh,
80s.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about now.
Yes.
She did a duet with Ozzy, Close My Eyes Forever.
Yeah.
So, and she's still around. She's still just as nasty and awesome and, but she owned it. And she didn't have to throw out a million different versions of the same word.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very empowering.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she opened the door for people like Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm,
mm-hmm.
who I also think she's another great example of someone maybe our listeners have heard of. Very in touch with being a woman and not afraid to, chalk it up like the boys do. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But, do it without trying to have 8th grade shock value.
Could I posit this?
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought. In the same way that you're talking about these women in this specific style of music, sort of not afraid to sort of push against the gender roles in terms
mm-hmm.
of, or to push against the norm of well, guys write music like that. Why can't I write music like that?
Right.
Could this potentially be because I mean, rap, hip hop, there's definitely, especially post 2000, definitely got a reputation as there being a lot of violent lyrics, a lot of
mm-hmm.
sexually suggestive lyrics,
mm-hmm.
A lot of male presence in hip hop. Could this just potentially be Cardi B doing the same thing?
It is, and
yeah.
Just on a note, when the male counterpart does the same thing, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
And it's not all the hip hop artists or rock or metal artists, whatever. I don't want to single anybody out, but it's the same thing. I don't,
mm-hmm.
It comes over the same way to me, no matter what gender they are.
Sure.
It's just
yeah.
a lot of people,
I don't like I put it this way, I don't like hearing about people's dick sizes.
No, I mean that's not my wheelhouse at all.
Same thing. I don't want to I don't want to know about anybody's downstairs parts.
No,
because I don't need it. It's information I don't want.
No,
I have a shocking amount of friends over the years who just felt the need to tell me in explicit detail the shape and functional of their genitals. I'm just not interested.
No, I don't
Guy or
that.
girl,
no,
do
I
not
don't.
care. Here's what I like about the song. It's a really good beat. That is one of the arguments I had to get really used to. I had a lot of friends in Montana, and that were more into hip hop kind of stuff, and a lot of time, I had a real issue with Black Eyed Peas for a long time. This one album in particular, this kid that I was in a program with, he constantly played this one. I could go look up the album. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it was just this like catchy candy bowl full of Jolly Ranchers for dinner kind of stuff. And I just like, I couldn't get it. But he just, when I was complaining about one point, he was just like, it's catchy. I like it. So that kind of redefined my thinking on what catchy is in terms of a musical expression device. Like, I mean, it's no different than like any other part of the song. Like the catchiness value is sort of directly correlated with the potential popular intrigue. And that's one thing I like about the song is it's definitely, you know, for what we could say negatively about it, it's definitely the flip side of that coin is a positive for somebody else. You know,
right.
It is super sexually suggestive. I mean, is that another part of it? I'm thinking maybe that like instead of burying something in nuance and like subtext, she's just coming straight out like licking dicks, and
it's a bit much. And I think a lot of it might be from, you know, my generation. I mean, yeah, we had that 80s hair metal, but and you know, it might have been a little suggestive, but nothing compared to this. But I think that's a generational thing.
Yeah.
And I want to say, like, if you like this song, that's fine. I'm not knocking anyone who enjoys it. You know, there's something for everyone. Just, you know, it's not in anything that I would listen to.
There's a difference between something like the Lemon song, which we all know what he's talking about.
Oh, of course.
Versus me just like writing a song about like just explicitly saying like, yeah, I'm going to get a hand job.
Right.
That'd be a fucking awesome song name, by the way.
At least put some, you know, creativity into it.
I think that's like a lot of like what the foundations of poetry were, is like, I mean, a lot of this stuff is love and sex and death and violence, but you bury it with like charismatic artistry.
Right.
You don't, it's almost like it's like taboo to say the thing directly.
Yeah.
And this is sort of breaking that mold. And I would definitely say it's like, sorry. Oh, we're good.
Okay.
That was just a weird color. I didn't like that color. Just for explanation, just the color of the tracks.
Yeah, it's a computer screen. That was a hard shift, but we're...
Yeah. That'll be better on the video.
Okay,
Your audio only, just weird thing happened. Anyway, I think they're like, I don't know. The times are changing for sure. I don't think a woman could have gotten away with a song like this even maybe 5 years ago. I think that like there's
not.
You know, I think WAP changed a lot of a lot of things. Like it kind of showed us where we are in our culture, because I think, you know, popular music is downstream from the cultural zeitgeist. You know, it like if it doesn't hit, it's not going to be as big as WAP or Up or any of these songs are. Like, you know, say what you will, but the reason why they're so successful is because they're hitting something. And a lot of people, you know, some people I know in particular would be like, well, they just like, you know, they had whatever the Jenner girl was in the music video, like that was a big publicity stunt. You know, they just used the Instagram marketing, the labels control everything, all these things. But here's the thing: is it still has to be listened to by a specific amount of people for it to reach this status. You know?
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know how I feel about. I know there's all kinds of crazy shit out there now, and you know, people are up in arms about race, about gender, about, you know, all these overarching things that then kind of filter down to our level of what we're talking about, which is music. So without discrediting anybody, it is sort of interesting where we're at in terms of popular music.
It is. But in defense, I mean, I've got a great example of the way back times. I think it was 89. Madonna, and I might be a little wrong on the facts, Madonna had a huge sponsorship with Pepsi. She made a music video for the song Like a Prayer, and they aired the music video, and immediately Pepsi dropped her because it was so risque. Okay, this is what was in the video. It was I don't know if you remember the video. It was kind of set up in like a religious thing, and there were like crosses, and there was an actor who was, I guess, portraying a Jesus character that she kisses in the music video. That wasn't the big thing. It was bad. They didn't like that she was kissing someone playing Jesus. He was black and playing Jesus.
That's what they didn't like?
And she kissed basically a black guy playing a Jesus character, and she kissed him.
And that's what they were up in arms about?
Yo,
we've come a long way, y'all.
I know. So back to where this song, you know, there are that opinions are just, this is not of my time.
Yeah.
Now, when I saw the Madonna video in 1989 when I was a kid, I didn't really understand what the big deal was.
Right.
But society did, and now that's why I think you get a lot of negativity on the Cardi B's and things. Is, you know, and in the video there was nobody dressed like Jesus, but she was kissing a lot of people in that video.
Yeah.
But she was kissing other women.
Cardi B was kissing a corpse in this one.
Yeah, yes, she was in the beginning.
I think it was supposed to be 2020.
Yeah, 2020
Don't
was.
make
dead.
out with 2020. You're gonna get a bad taste. In your
You're
mouth.
gonna get something like
you're gonna get
really
gingivitis.
bad. But she was kissing girls, and of course that's nothing. And I don't even think that's a shocking thing. And to put that in to be shocking now is almost insulting.
Yeah.
People.
Oh, if you did like a shot for shot and like put whoever in this like the same sort of music video, and like the Madonna one had never happened, these days like nobody would bat an eye.
Yeah,
that would be so tame. That would be like, I mean, outside of like an underage person doing it, like nobody would give a shit.
Right. And thankfully for Madonna for taking that bullet back in 1989.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's cookies and milk now.
Right.
So, and one day Cardi B will be looked at as you know, on Disney radio or you know.
Yeah.
So.
I think and it's it is interesting how these things tend to, like, they seem to happen in cycles. It's like the line, someone crosses it, there's pushback, and then the line moves. And then there's the line, somebody crosses it, there's pushback, and then the line moves. And it's kind of like it just continues on and forever. And
yeah.
I don't know. I think there's definitely a time and place for a song like this. Like if I was in a dance club and I was looking to dance, I would much rather hear Cardi B's Up than Anthrax's This Is Not an Exit. But if I was in the Jinx and Anthrax was playing, I don't want them, and I'm about to dance to This Is Not an Exit. I don't want them being like, oh, we have some technical issues. Hang on, we'll just put on some house music. And it'd be, if it's up, then it's up. It's just like, there's a vibe for everything. And
there is.
I think,
there is. And an audience for everything.
Sure, absolutely.
So to wrap that song up.
You don't relate to
it? For me personally, I will probably never listen to this song again. If this is something for you, then go for it.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't recommend it at all. All right. So now we are on our next song. And it's going to be, I believe this one is Sealed with a Fist.
I didn't even know that when I was doing the shadow boxing thing. I didn't even know that was the next one up.
Yeah.
That's our level of just fluidity and just cohesion in this podcast.
We are like one.
For those of you tuning in, we're running into some technical difficulties. Nothing major, but first episode, so might be a couple of weird little cuts and stuff. Just bear with us. We're gonna be pros at this in no time.
Oh yeah, we're already almost there.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Sealed with a Fist.
So Sealed with a Fist. This is by a very underappreciated thrash band by the name of Exodus.
So underappreciated. In fact, I've actually talked to 2 or 3 people who believe that Exodus should have taken the place of Anthrax in the 4 Pillars.
A lot of people think that.
I've heard some of those people float that.
They actually put them in what's called the second wave of the big four is Exodus, Testament, Nuclear Assault, and the fourth one escapes me now, but it's kind of that. Or,
Oh shit! I might not have seen Exodus. I might have seen Testament.
Okay, that's fine.
Shit.
We'll get.
I just realized that. Wait, is Exodus the one where the guy like sings with the mic stand in his hand, or is that Testament? Shit.
That's Testament.
Fuck. Damn it. All right. I take it back. It wasn't Exodus.
That's fine.
Temple of the Snake. That's Testament.
No, Brotherhood of the Snake.
Brotherhood of the
That's
Snake.
Testament. Yeah.
Ah, fuck. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. I got your hopes up. I have not seen Exodus live.
That's okay.
My bad.
Just we're done. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This is off of kind of another comeback record. Exodus split up in the mid to late 90s, and during that time when they got back together, they regrouped with their original lead singer who was on their first record, and unfortunately he passed away, so they brought back their more famous lead singer, a guy named Zetro Salza, and so they recorded their comeback album called Tempo of the Damned, and it had a couple of I guess hits on metal radio. And this was in 2004 when this came out, when kind of thrash was coming back.
So okay, interesting. So almost like 10 years after. This is not an Exit kind of era stuff.
Yeah.
It sounded a little. The production sounded a little bit more modern, like closer to what, like more modern metal music sounds like.
Yes, and better equipment, better and money again. This is when thrash bands were getting the kind of smaller labels that were pushing thrash bands, but it was such a great resurgence of thrash metal. I think in that time frame, Megadeth got back together and put out a record. Exodus put out a record. Testament, I think, was getting ready to put out something. Death Angel got back together and put out an album, which Death Angel is one we're going to touch on in the future.
Okay.
But it's kind of a cool song. Not only musically it's pretty hard, pretty great, but the subject matter is very interesting. It's about spousal abuse.
I got that.
And it's it's from the point of view of the female.
Yeah.
And she solves the problem in the end, in the chorus. It's almost like this is the thrash metal version of When the Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks. If you really think about it.
Yeah.
You know.
What I pictured the whole time was like a much more violent approach to the November Rain music video by Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. But it's just, and like the chorus is 16 rounds in case she misses. Sealed with a fist. I mean, so yeah, she just
lot of lines like really stuck out. Like, I can't remember the specifics, of course, but like talking about the bullet like splitting through all your bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean, very, very. What would I say? Impactful stuff.
Very, very graphic.
Yeah, I like the tie-in. It was like it sounded like they were going for like it's on the wedding day kind of thing. I don't know if that stacks up, but
or maybe it like started with the wedding day, because I think the line is like when she said "I do," it didn't mean across the face. You know.
Yeah.
But just a lot of like really cool symbolism, and just it's a brutal, violent song, but it's in a good way.
It's redemptive.
Like, you're cheering for this woman who, you know, had some meathead of a husband who just liked to basically just beat her, and finally she got her gun and he's done beating her.
Yeah, took care of her. Yeah.
Which, you know, and that kind of like helps the cause of like people who think metalheads are these misogynic, violent people. You've got one of the most brutal thrash metal bands ever writing a brutal song about a woman getting her redemption and taking her side, and just kind of basically saying, you know, this is not cool for any man to treat his significant other this way, and he deserves, you know, basically getting blasted by his wife.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the reasons why I picked it, because it's got such great, not because you fit in that category, but I thought it was a really good subject matter that people don't who don't listen to thrash metal maybe don't realize it. They actually write songs that are, against the domestic violence and such other things. And it's also it's a great record, and this is a song that is probably not as remembered. I've always liked this song off this record, and it's just in your face, song. Mm-hmm. It's very Exodus-ish, for lack of a better word. And this song had one songwriter, so. But your thoughts, my good friend.
First impressions, I obviously metal intros are my way of like. I had a poetry teacher in college that she said you need to give the person you're speaking to a comfortable chair to sit in. As an artist, that's your job. Is whatever you're doing, you're providing a comfortable chair. Mm-hmm. And that's metal instrumentation to me, is that comfortable chair of like, what's the tempo? Oh, this is going to be like doomy and sludgy, or like something like this is like, okay, this is going to get nuts. And you know that just from the intro. And like, I mean, from the first notes all the way through that crazy friggin' guitar solo, like you know with this song what it's gonna be like, what it's gonna entail. And like, I think it's so cool. Like you touched on the anti-domestic violence message and like taking back your life by any means necessary kind of stuff. Like, I mean, this is a very intense song, and you get that from the get-go, and that's what I really liked about it. Again, the things that can kind of make or break a metal song for me are the vocals. I didn't have as much of a problem with this because I listened to Bob Dylan, so I can handle odd vocals, and he's got a very distinct nasally kind of raspy.
He does
16 round, but I like it. It fits, it works, and I'm again this one it didn't take me. Like, I think Anthrax took me 2 listens to kind of to get it, to like it. I liked it pretty much right off the cuff. Like, this is something that if it came on a metal playlist, that are we good? You keep.
I'm
good?
just getting situated.
Oh, okay. This is something that if it came on one of those like playlists, I would listen to the whole thing. Might even turn the volume up a little bit. Yeah. No, I really, really liked it. Yeah, I mean, the song's in my head for sure. This is not an Exit and Sealed with a Fist are definitely like songs that they'll still pop up in my head. And like, I mean, obviously I listened to them a lot this week, but I really liked it. As far as like metal music, is very informative. Sorry, I didn't realize that Exodus and Testament were 2 different bands. But
it's okay because they're actually related to each other.
Okay.
When Testament was starting out, they went by the name The Legacy. Mm-hmm. And this singer, Zetro, he was the original lead singer for what became Testament. And when Exodus needed a new lead singer, he left Testament to go sing with Exodus and asked his good friend Chuck Billy if he wanted to take over in Testament, who was the lead singer of Testament. Mm. So they're basically...
This is, of course, all I knew, of course. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they're basically like metal in-laws, so to speak.
My misconception is understandable then.
Yeah.
Or my misconstruing.
And another fact, the guy that wrote the song, the lead guitarist for Exodus, his name is Gary Holt, When Jeff Hanneman from Slayer passed away, Gary Holt took his place.
Yep. Yeah.
So
phenomenal guitar player. Like, I watched him play with Slayer. That's some impressive guitar work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's amazing.
Gary Holt was in Exodus, you said? Sorry.
Yeah. He's the main songwriter for Exodus and has been, I think, from the get-go. And he was pulling double duty as Exodus and as Jeff Hanneman's replacement in Slayer until Slayer retired. So.
Right. Well, they'll go back on a reunion or another. What is it? Because my friend and I saw them at their farewell tour, and then it's like, oh, by the way, in 2019 we're doing a farewell tour too. You only get one. You only get one, fuckers. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the thing, is like they bill it as, hey, this is it, and then they make so much fucking money from it. They're right? Like, oh god, all right, reunion tour number 2,
and then when they ran out of money, number 3.
Whatever you got to do. Then you do Then you do the reunion tour. Then you do the retirement tour from the reunion tour. And dude, you got to move those T-shirts, man. You got to pay for those Beverly Hills houses.
So, recommend? Not?
I think this is a great song regardless of whether you're like, I don't know, if you're some 40 or 50-year-old just stuck in old school metal, like, I only listen to Sabbath and early thrash or whatever, or you're a younger kid, you only listen to newer stuff. This fits right. It's like right down the line of like still having that old thrash style and like those tropes, but having like a more modern production behind it.
Yeah.
And that's what I really liked about it. It was a very comfortable. So it was a song I was very comfortable with from the beginning. So I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And I look forward to, I'm sure, hearing more Exodus songs.
There will be some more Creeped in there. And it's, yeah.
Sorry for my confusion, metalheads.
You're fun. You're fun.
I don't claim to be one. I just like the music.
Yeah. And, it's a learning curve.
Yeah. I've seen Slayer. Bear with me. I really genuinely love the style, the genre. I don't know everything.
It's okay. I've actually seen Testament and Exodus on the same bill.
Really?
They opened for Megadeth when Megadeth was doing their 20th anniversary of Rust in Peace. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was a lot of metal for one day.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Dude, me and my buddy, we went, so we're talking about the Slayer retirement tour, like, that was a crazy day. It was in Orlando. Thank God we left the motel early. We were staying a couple towns away because we didn't want to deal with Orlando. And it took forever to get. They were playing at like the fairgrounds. And the traffic in Orlando is a nightmare. We get there and we missed the first, like, I think Testament only played for like half an hour. And we missed like the first 15 minutes, but got to see their closing, and it was phenomenal. The next band we saw was Behemoth. I think they played for like a half hour. Anthrax, and I think they played for like 45 minutes to an hour. And then Lamb of God, which I was super excited for. They played for like an hour. And then Slayer played for like 2 hours. So it was like a 5-hour concert. By the end of it, like me and my buddy, we've been headbanging so hard. Like by the end of Slayer's set, we were just standing there like zombies. Like we had to go to Waffle House. And dude, funny story. So this is my good buddy Nick. We have this thing that we do. We go to concerts together because he kind of he was a big influencer on me in terms of like metal music, because I kind of dabbled in some stuff when I was younger. He was the guy that like in my adult life got me way more into metal. Like we went and saw Devin Townsend Project, took me to the Slayer show. Like, so that's our thing. We go to these shows and we both buy the same band t-shirt. And then that's our thing. Cause we could when we went to see Devin Townsend, we couldn't decide on, you don't want to buy the same shirt as your buddy, but it was the one design was way superior to the other. So we're like, let's just both buy it. So Slayer show, we both buy the same Slayer shirt. We drive back to the right next to the motel we were staying at is a Waffle House. We're zombies. We eat so much fucking food. Great day of metal, but we're exhausted. We woof down this Waffle House. We go back to our hotel room, which we had spent no time in. We pull back the sheets. There's fucking lipstick all over the bed and the pillowcases. So we start doing this back and forth thing because it's I don't even care at this point. This episode is going to get no listens. We were staying at a Wyndham Travel Lodge, and we started doing these like Wyndham Travel Lodge pitches, and it was like the Wyndham Travel Lodge where lipstick comes complimented, shit like that. And he said the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. He was like, "So Motel 6 has a slogan. It's Motel 6 will leave the light on for you." And we had been going back and forth on this thing, and he goes, "The Wyndham Travel Lodge will leave the seat up for you." And it fucking crushed. It killed me.
Nice.
And that's my metal story.
All right.
My laughter made the camera go askew.
Halfway.
Is that what you were looking at, dude? I was like, dude.
But I was like, we'll just keep the footage and
yeah.
And I'll,
if it happens, take it. It's totally cool. We can
wait till it's a break.
We can bounce around the room.
So, but anyway, okay. Now we're back on program,
dude.
So next song.
This song brought to you by the Wyndham Travel Lodge. So my third and final pitch to you, which took no thought, was "Blinding Lights" by The Weeknd, and this is a fascinating one for me because this hit number 1 in 34 countries, so you can't argue with it. It's been on. It still holds the record for most time in top 5 and top 10 on Billboard Hot 100. It got released right before COVID. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah. This song came out in November of 2019.
2019, yeah. And it's been flirting with the top 5 since that time. And it's, as we record this podcast, it's a number 3, and it is the best song ever written. How many writers on that? Not as many. Not as many.
It actually only has
The Weeknd, Max Martin, Oscar
writers.
Holter, Belly, which is a sweet name, and Jason
Quenneville, Max Martin, Oscar Holter. 5 people wrote this song.
I'm kind of on board with you in terms of like writing credits these days. I don't know if there's like new requirements when you work with labels or what, but like it is odd when you like. I was like when we were doing our intro podcast, I was telling you about that song where they had to give Kurt Cobain a writing credit because somebody basically just used the chorus for In Bloom, and it's like I don't know what's going on, but a lot of these songs, which it's hard because you don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, a 4-year-old could have come up with that, but in a lot of these cases, it's just shocking the amount of songwriters for what comes out. It's like, what did you write? Did you contribute a phrase? Like
just one beat?
I don't know.
I mean,
well, it's like, there's a thought in this because like as you're saying the Anthrax, this is not an exit. It was based on a book. Like they didn't have to credit the author of American Psycho with any of that.
No.
I don't know if I don't know. It's just very strange where how many people are getting songwriting credits at this time.
And I think a lot of it, especially in popular music, it's basically we're going to go ahead and give this person credit so that we don't have to deal with the backlash later.
Yeah.
So we don't get sued later. So this and that doesn't happen.
Maybe there's like a lot of gun shy stuff.
Yeah.
Now that, there's been obviously way more cases in the since the mid 2000s of like plagiarism and stuff like that. Everybody's coming for their money. Rolling Stones.
Everybody.
Tom Petty sued Sam Smith. Everybody's suing everybody, and it's like
it's an easy out.
It's a knife fighting kind of business, it seems like, and that's why I like. As a musician, I have no interest in the political side of this space. It just seems like hell. Like, it seems like if 1 or 2 people can come up with driver's license, 1 or 2 people can come up with Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. Like not to shit talk or what, but some of this has to be political or something. I don't know.
It is. Just like there were 3 producers on this song.
Right. And it's I don't know.
But
I don't know how I feel about it.
So now I'll tell you how I feel about it.
Yeah, first impressions.
Actually, you're gonna be a little surprised. I actually enjoyed this song.
Yes.
And this song is technically not in my wheelhouse. I love throwing that word around. The thing is, when I listened to it, and the video was actually really kind of cool.
Yeah,
it was like a zombie apocalypse or the end of an apocalypse in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I was familiar with The Weeknd. I wasn't familiar with any of his music. I was aware he played the Super Bowl. I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but the name was familiar. It actually, musically, and even his style of singing reminded me of like mid-'80s pop music.
Yes.
In fact, it almost felt like Take On Me by a-ha.
Yes.
It had that vibe.
That's actually this couldn't have worked out any better because this song has been gripping the top 5 forever. Mm-hmm. He plays the Super Bowl. It happens to be top 3 this week, which I was going to pitch anyway, just as a welcome to the show kind of thing. It seemed to make sense to start off with the top 3 most popular songs. Mm-hmm. And so this all really, but this is the one that I was like, if he's going to like any of them, Jonathan Humphrey, child of the 80s, he's going to love this synth wave pop ballad, like, not ballad, but like, this, like, I knew that this was going to like hit some nostalgia points for you for sure.
It did. And it felt very reminiscent of, because, don't be mistaken. When I was growing up in the 80s, I listen to 80s pop music, but that was a different animal than, 20s, teens pop music.
Sure.
Now, obviously. But, yeah, it reminded me a lot of like not only the sound, but the feel, the sensibility, everything. And I couldn't tell, I don't want to be unfair, I couldn't tell if he was using autotune, but which I hate autotune.
Mm-hmm.
But he did, his voice sounds it was on kind of like a frequency that just kind of like a soothing, cool sound.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like if he was using autotune, I get the feeling that maybe he doesn't need to use it.
He's a great singer.
And he might not have been using it. I might be mistaken.
Sure.
So.
As somebody that works in like the sound engineering, music production kind of field, a lot of like techniques they're using now is like, because autotunes, again, it's like a catch-all term for like pitch adjustment. There are way more sophisticated techniques now with a lot of the more modern programs to pitch correct where it's more subtle. You're not using something where if I were to just like put the auto-tune plugin on and just sing something random, it's going to tune it automatically to that key. It's kind of clunky, but it's become a trope in popular music. A lot of what people do now is they introduce it in a lot of subtle ways. They'll use it on like some of the backing vocals at a lower level, like, so there may be a little of that, but he's not utilizing auto-tune in this song in the way that like T-Pain utilizes auto-tune as a production means kind of thing.
Okay.
So there may be some in it, but I would say there may be some sort of pitch correction being done to his voice, but it's not specifically auto-tune.
Okay. But it sounded good. I mean, all in all, I mean, I really don't have a lot to go into on this song, mainly because other than, what I've said, there's really not much to say about it, only because, I mean, I enjoyed it. And this, like I said, this is not my style of music, but I enjoyed listening to it.
Got one on the board. I'm so happy.
And
so happy.
I can understand anyone who would listen. This song was not written for, a certain age group. This is a very cool song. I'm sure if my mother heard this song, she would, she would enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I hope that's not a diss to the Weeknd that, my 7-year-old mother would like it.
A lot of people like this song.
But yeah, it was just, and I think it was the familiarity of it felt the sensibilities of a good 80s pop song. But yeah, I honestly, I don't find anything negative to say about it. He seemed like he was a pretty cool guy, He was having fun in his zombie apocalypse video.
Did you watch the Super Bowl performance?
No.
We'll go back. We'll watch it.
I'll have to go back
pretty
and watch
cool.
it, but yeah.
There's like there's a sequence. It was pretty well done, but he takes the camera. I guess it was on like a selfie stick or something, and he's dancing in this like golden hallway, and a bunch of people like started making memes out of it like almost immediately.
I've seen the memes from that. Yeah.
When your parents are trying to use Zoom on their cell phones and stuff like that. But he's a talented guy. I've been familiar with him going back to like maybe 2016, 2017. He did a song with Daft Punk. I really like Daft Punk. They were the producers on it, and he was the singer, and it's called Starboy. He's all of his stuff is just so catchy. Like even songs that I'm not familiar with, like when he was doing the Super Bowl performance, obviously it's like, oh yeah, okay, I know this song just because it gets so much radio play. But he's an interesting cat.
Yeah, I mean, just
cool music video.
It was a really cool video, and it was it was very enjoyable. I mean, I'm not gonna go buy his record, but if I hear this song again, I'm gonna sit back and go, oh yeah, this is
makes you kind of want to dance around.
Oh yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I didn't know it for sure, but I had an expectation that you might like that song, and I'm super glad. Episode 1, I'm on the board.
Look at you, boom!
I'm so happy. Yes. All right.
But to recap, I recommend this song for everyone.
Yeah,
it's just and all of you old codgers like me who grew up on 80s pop. This is a good slice of a reminiscent of 80s pop.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like it's modern and it's modern sounding, but
very modern.
If you touched it up a little bit to make it a little bit more vintage, this would fit right into like a movie soundtrack like Donnie Darko with like a lot of those like kind of more 80s influenced kind of songs. Like it would fit right in. It's just it's like I don't know.
It's just a good across the board song. I mean, good job.
Yeah. Good
highly
job, The
recommend.
Weeknd, Max Martinez, Oscar Holler, Belly.
Yeah,
Shout out to Belly.
good old Billy. All right,
Dude,
last one on the
let's put
list.
a bow on this puppy.
This was unique. The song is called "It's Going Down" by Suicidal Tendencies. This is a very unusual
My job's done.
song and a very unusual record. Those of you who know who Suicidal Tendencies are, it usually breaks into two groups. It's people who know them from Institutionalized, the song from their first album, and you either know that song because you knew it when it came out in '83, or you heard it on an Iron Man. And those,
Oh, okay.
and those of you who know Suicidal Tendencies from hearing the song on Iron Man, this is not for you. There's another group of people that will know Suicidal, and it's when they became more heavy metal, starting about 1988. Their big breakthrough, quote, metal record was Lights, Camera, Revolution, which came out in 1990. This is off the album The Art of Rebellion, and it came out in 1992, and we were touching on 1992 as far as metal bands.
And me being born.
And ironically, in 1992, I got my driver's license. So,
Dude, this episode is so full of just...
yeah,
Dude,
I got my
this
driver's
is
license.
synchronicity at its finest.
So, 1992, I got my driver's license.
And your boyfriend broke your heart.
I got my driver's license at the beginning of 92, and then that nasty breakup with Kyle was in
It's always Kyle.
the end of 92.
Fuck you, Kyle.
I don't want to mention my breakup's name. She knows who she is, and she
Yeah.
would probably never listen to this podcast.
She's regretting it now.
No, actually, I think
After this
she's
podcast goes double platinum.
No, she's like,
Triple Sal
thank
Cow.
God I got away from that guy. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
I'm kidding. But anyway,
Dude, tell me about 92 metal.
so
music.
1992 was it was a year after the Black Album came out, and pretty much changed all the rules for that style of metal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame that you were -1 when that happened. But like I had said before, everyone assumes that it was all about grunge. Well, Nirvana, Nevermind, really didn't break until the end of 1991, early 92.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Black Album broke the summer of 91 when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, immediately all the other metal bands that never thought they had a shot on radio started making albums that were less thrash and more straightforward heavy metal, as Metallica had done. Megadeth did it with Countdown to Extinction. Testament actually had a great album in 92 that was straightforward metal. Anthrax came a year later in 93. Suicidal Tendencies, on the other hand, accidentally made a radio-friendly album.
Really?
Yes. They were coming off of the success of Lights, Camera, Revolution, which is just a great metal band, metal record, excuse me. And Suicidal is known for they're the first ones who were crossover from hardcore punk to metal.
Okay.
They did it before, DRI did it, before anybody else did it. And so they come out with The Art of Rebellion, which it's a very big natural progression. It's still a metal album, but I would say every song on this record could have been played on the radio in 1992.
Okay.
And they actually had three singles that were played on MTV from this record. The one I gave you was not one of them.
Right.
But I think the only thing that didn't give them more popularity was the name of the band. In 1992, it was hard to sell a band called Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah, I could see that.
It was hard enough to sell a band called Megadeth
Yeah.
in 1992, but they had some, a little bit bigger commercial success.
Well, I mean, 3 years earlier, Madonna couldn't even kiss a black guy.
No, she couldn't.
I'm glad we live in the times we do, to be honest. Because now you have like suicidal silence. I don't know. That's
But anyway.
Nobody bats an eye.
Yeah, but this album I felt like really showcased the musicianship of this band, where they could be more than just an amazing hardcore punk band, an amazing metal band, And lead singer Mike Muir, I think it challenged his vocal abilities. He's not the greatest singer in the world. Okay, he's not.
That was one of my notes.
Well, he's not. But this is some of his best attempt at singing.
Okay.
And it was all natural. Like the backstory of this record, they just went in. They had this certain vibe when they started writing and recording these songs, and it just accidentally came out like this. This is also the only Suicidal Tendencies record with no profanity on it.
Another part of the accident.
It was accidental.
Or did they didn't intentionally not swear?
No, it was completely by accident.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So, but I picked this song because it had a little bit more of an upbeat. It was a little bit faster than some of the other deep cuts on this record. So I felt like this would be easier to slip in and get, familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
There are better deep cuts than this one, but this was a good one to, go ahead and start in. And it has one songwriter. So, I mean, it's not institutionalized. It's not I Saw Your Mommy. It's not I Shot the Devil. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
first impressions, not familiar with them at all, outside of like good punk drummers wearing their hats.
Okay.
That's the only reference I have to Suicidal Tendencies.
Okay.
It's like all the good punk drummers that I've met wear Suicidal Tendencies hats. Again, super comfy chair for me to like listen to the instrumentation and like hard rock, metal, punk, whatever. I love the sound. I love the grittiness. Yeah, I would agree with the not the best singer in the world kind of thing. And this isn't a style thing. This comes from a point of like, just in terms of like talent level. I don't think he quite has enough power behind his voice. Like his voice strikes me as pretty weak. Just in terms of like the music going on around it. And I don't know if it's like stylistically the way he's trying to sing with this music. I have, like I said, zero reference for any of his other singings. Did I enjoy the song? This one took me the longest to get comfortable with, but I eventually could listen to it. It's not in my head.
Yeah.
I have to really think and like, it's going down in my dark side. And now I hear the music, but
dun, 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 dun.
This would be interestingly enough, the third one for me. This would be the like, probably the least favorite of the three. I would definitely be interested in hearing more of their music even if just for comparison's sake, but yeah, I don't think the vocals, it wasn't like a thing I could get past. It was a performance thing. Yeah. And not to, bash somebody who's been wildly more successful than myself.
Right.
But it's not the way he sings, unfortunately. It's like it's how I view him as a singer.
Well, it's a hardcore punk singer trying to sing melodic.
Right.
And one of the big things that I wanted it to be a big challenge for you is if I were to tell someone who's never listened to Suicidal Tendencies before where to start, this is actually the last album I would tell them to start with.
Interesting. Yeah.
This is one that you literally have got to go through their more popular stuff and understand them before you do it. So I kind of threw you a curve there.
Right.
It's kind of like
I could definitely, like, if this is like, not saying it's like the worst of the worst, but if this is a very challenging sort of listen, I could definitely listen to them more, especially if they have like more like hardcore kind of stuff. Like I could definitely see myself liking that side a little bit more. I think it's a hard sell when you have somebody who's not used to singing melodically give it their best shot. Yeah. And it just kind of falls flat. And you said there's some singles off this that did well.
Yeah.
So and maybe that just is, maybe it's the key it was written in and he's just more comfortable singing in that key. Like all kinds of crazy things can happen, Sometimes you get people who, if I don't know, did a guitarist write the song or?
No, the lead singer wrote the song.
Lead singer wrote the song. Okay. Well, there goes that argument. Because sometimes somebody writes a song and then they can't play it in a different key, and sometimes the singer struggles with that. But there goes that.
Their heavier
argument.
metal stuff, the music-wise, one of their guitar players who was metal influence, who actually brought a metal influence into the band, wrote a lot of their stuff that's more well-known, and that is actually really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like this record because it was a natural progression for me from their last record. Like, I was already a fan.
Okay.
So it kind of fit. But this is, and I'm not comparing the two, but like this is their Led Zeppelin 3.
Okay.
This is their Sticky Fingers.
A clear moment of musical transformation.
Yes.
Okay.
This is their Reload. It's their, let's kind of put a toe in a different set of waters, and we got this vibe. Let's just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it still has the attitude, but it's definitely a big shift from where they were heading. And then, oddly enough, their next record after this just went right back to hardcore punk meets heavy metal.
I wonder why sometimes bands do that. I think maybe they just need a break from it.
Yeah, they tried it out and they enjoyed it, and then they just wanted to, loop back around. I mean, it was a weird time.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you get bands that do that. There's an interesting band called Pianos Become the Teeth that my friend recommended to me, and all of their other stuff is like I haven't listened to it, so I can't really speak to it. He just suggested this one album that was much more minimalist, and it wasn't as like. If I'm not mistaken, they're like kind of what's the style? They're like, I think they're more grindcore. I'm not that could be incorrect, so don't roast me, but they just have this like softer album, and it's like it's like way more in my wheelhouse. And it's like I wouldn't really listen to their other stuff. And I think I checked out a song or two, and I was like, okay, yeah, just this album. That happens sometimes. Like, I'm blanking on the name now. I don't know. Sometimes bands try out a different sound, and sometimes it's really successful, and sometimes it's not.
Another band that I like all their music, but their softer stuff I like better is Opeth.
That's exactly
Is
what
that
I
who
was
you're
just
thinking
thinking
of? Okay.
Yeah, Damnation.
Yeah.
That's exactly who I was thinking of.
And Deliverance. Deliverance, was that which one was the heavier? One was heavy, and one was light.
Damnation's the softer one.
Okay.
That's the one I'm way more familiar with. And I've listened to other Opeth songs, like especially their more popular songs. But that's the album that does it for me, just because like I like a lot of the Odd Time stuff, and they're obviously superior musicians to most people.
Yes.
And
that goes without saying.
And I like their heavier stuff, but
Yeah,
it's
I do
so
too.
cool to see them like make this, like that just speaks to the musicianship more than anything, is like for these guys to like to be able to skirt the two. Another interesting fact about that band that I found out is like none of the original founding members are in it.
No.
It was like the lead now, he got in early enough to where it just kind of became his band, because all the early members were like, nah, fuck this. But that's interesting to me, is that none of y'all started the band, and you can still use the name. So.
He came in like as a bassist, and then he became a guitar player or something.
Yeah.
And he actually, one of my favorite bands, Catatonia, he actually sang vocals on like their first 3 records, because their lead singer for Catatonia was the drummer, and he would do some clean vocals, but he brought the guy from Opeth. I can't pronounce his name. I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
But we know what we're talking about. He came in and did the vocals, and actually those two guys and the lead singer from Paradise Lost have all been members of the band Bloodbath.
Okay.
If you haven't heard them,
I have not.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. Let's do some deep cuts.
We're gonna everything Bloodbath has put out as a deep cut.
Yeah.
But they rotate singers between Nick Holmes from Paradise Lost and the guy from Opeth, and it's just the most like satanic evil like it's just definitely it's fun.
Swedish black metal.
Swedish black and death metal.
Yeah.
You know, all these guys just like making like the most evilest, darkest stuff they can just want to throw together. So,
Dude, how crazy is that? You picked Opeth out of that. It was exactly what I was thinking of.
I love them. They've become more of a progressive metal band.
Yes.
Or just progressive band now. I mean, I still like them, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I love them to death, and I'm not being, you know, anything against them, but sometimes their albums get a little long.
Yeah.
A little long in the tooth, but you know, we still have the old stuff. So recommend, not recommend, and be honest.
Well, I think you kind of said it yourself. Is like you wouldn't recommend this to somebody starting out on Suicidal Tendencies.
Yep,
and I
yep.
feel like if you know Suicidal Tendencies at this point, you kind of know what you like.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a song I would recommend. Just in terms of like, I think you take creative risks as artists, and those pay off or they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's just better. People have just done better versions of what this song is probably attempting to do.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And like, no offense to them, like, and I look forward to hearing more of their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wouldn't really recommend. I can't think of somebody who I would recommend this song for.
That's actually a very fair thing. Yeah, like I said, that was the curveball I want to throw at you.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff from Suicidal Tendencies that everyone would always recommend, and I was like, I'm going to pull from the one place that no one ever pulls from for Suicidal
The
Tendencies.
buried coffin.
Yeah, it's like, let me dig up this album that I love, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from a different vantage point than you are.
Yeah. When I give you a ride home, I want to like find one of the singles off this record and just get a comparison note, just because like I just kind of want to see what else they were trying to do, because like, again, if you have 3 pretty successful songs on a record, that's pretty good, especially if you're trying something different, and especially if you have to fill an entire album's worth of material and you're trying out this new thing. Like, they're not all going to be bangers, more than likely.
And it's very kind of almost ethereal. Like there's like very spoken word intro, not spoken word intro, but it's you'll hear it. Like they have a one of the singles is a song called "Asleep at the Wheel," and I think it's like 8 minutes long.
Oh wow!
But it's very vocal heavy.
Okay.
And it's kind of like got 2 different sections to it.
Okay.
Vocally, and you'll hear it. It's I'll never explain it correctly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, this is the same band that 2 years earlier they had "You Can't Bring Me Down," which is a great metal hardcore song, and it's you'll if you've never heard "You Can't Bring Me Down," that's
I have not.
Just it was a single, so I can't recommend it like on the podcast.
You can if we flip.
But it's yeah, maybe on the flip. Flip.
That'll be fun.
But yeah, there's so much more to Suicidal Tendencies than what I recommended to you. If that was my first taste of Suicidal, I probably wouldn't have gotten into them.
Yeah, I could see that.
But that was your curveball. That was your Cardi B, son.
Well, if nothing else, we know we're going to be honest.
Yeah,
and that's all. Like, and I like that you liked one of mine. I like the other 2 of yours. Like, I think it's nice that we can come in and we can just be honest about it. And it's like, this is a judgment-free zone. This is like, you don't have to like everything I recommend,
right?
Because plenty of other people are liking up, so they don't. She don't need you anyway.
Those people aren't me, and good for them. Like I said,
but I think this is what you want when you talk music with people. And like, again, I kind of wanted to provide us a space, like 2 people who are very interested and invested in music. Like, this is a cool space to do this in. Like, we don't have to worry about pleasing everybody. And sorry about mixing up Exodus and Testament.
That's okay.
Again, I'll issue a written statement apologizing. I feel so bad. Like, Jonathan and I were at the coffee house this morning, and I was like, dude, I've actually seen 2 of those bands live. and you looked at you like, oh, okay, cool. And like, get in here, it's like, oh, sorry, just kidding, just Anthrax.
Never mind.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. It's easy to get them confused, I guess.
Dude, well, look, we did it. We got through it. Like, shall we wrap up with some positives?
Yeah.
I'm super excited for our pizza party.
Yeah,
I have not hung out with hardly anybody in what has been like year. Going on a year.
Going on a year. Yeah.
So excited to see you and Trish. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so glad we started back up. We reconnected, and
Oh yeah.
I was so glad you were sold on this idea. And here we are doing it just a couple weeks later, you know?
Yeah. And I think considering we only had a couple of technical difficulties, and those were actually my fault. So
well, and I mean, not really that big a deal anyway.
No. So those of you who are going to watch this episode on YouTube, there's going to be a section where I'm out of frame. That might be a blessing. I don't know, but
dude, and any time in the future something like that happens, like please just feel free to get up and fix it.
We were on a vibe, and I figured
it's all good.
The audience was like, let's not have to look at that guy too much. But so this won't be the perfect video, but it's going up like it is, and just listen to us. That's more important than looking at us.
We will grow as we grow.
We will grow, and I want to mention this for the video viewers. We decided we were gonna, for our inaugural episode, wear our favorite band.
Oh yeah.
So,
get on up in that camera frame.
So
I'll talk you through it. Get up there.
Okay. So it was a hard decision. This is one of my favorite bands and favorite albums. This is Megadeth's Euthanasia.
Oh, the cool thing is you can cut to the camera mic for this part.
Oh yeah, I can.
Yeah. So we can leave this part in.
Yeah, I can leave this part in. I'm actually going to. I have so many cool shirts. So I'm gonna just be like on the down low, like wearing my favorite like shirts and just like kind of leaning in on episodes. Hopefully,
listen to this band.
And you wore your Pixie shirt.
Yeah.
I wore my Overkill hat. So yeah, go model for us there, sir. There you go. we dressed up.
Favorite bands to start it off.
Yeah. So, closing statements, sir.
Fuck the guy who broke Olivia Rodriguez's heart. Maybe it was that producer. I wonder if it was that producer. That's one of the theories I had, is like Daniel.
I don't know that producer.
He has a hard name.
I think he's a lot older than her. Yeah, he might be
a
a bit older than her.
As one letter away from a word I can't say.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
So I'm just gonna say Danny Boy.
That's why I didn't try to pronounce it, because I have enough trouble pronouncing.
He's getting enough credit as it is. But yeah, whoever broke her heart. But again, she's cashed in on that heartbreak.
So,
closing thoughts.
Other than what you've already made clear, but I'm looking forward to spicing it up for you, throwing you some things that you never thought you would have liked or never thought you would have had to listen to in a good way. Maybe a couple of stinkers I might slip in there.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm excited.
There's so many bands you don't know who they are, and like, okay, maybe this is cool.
Yeah.
But and bring them on to me. Up. I know, and I'm probably gonna curse myself for saying this, but it couldn't get any worse than Up, could it?
Those are famous last words, my
friend.
Know,
right? I'm already familiar with Nickelback's work, so you don't have to throw that in there.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Leave Chad alone. He's had to deal with enough. He got a concussion in Portugal or whatever. Did you see that video? He got the rock thrown at him. Yeah. I was like, oh, come on. All right, they're not that bad.
Yeah, it's like, don't throw rocks at him. But
Silver Side Up was good.
The State was good. That was their second album before. So I actually liked that album. That was a good rock record.
Yeah.
It was everything after.
It was the song that did it for me is like, and I really like heavy instrumentation. So I was like listening to my friend was super into Nickelback in Montana, and we're listening to this record, and then it's like gets to the chorus. It's like, I don't know the words, but then it's like, you look so much cuter with something in your mouth. And I was like, oh, it did to me what like Up did to you. I was like, I don't want to know about your penis, Chad. Come on, man.
Oh, it's like, Chad, he's my age.
We got to talk a little bit longer because we cannot end on Chad Kroger's
No, we
penis.
can't. We'll say anything else other than that. Any predictions for next week? For your, don't tell me
getting
anything
on the board. No,
of what you're going to throw at me. Don't tell me exactly. Just if you've got anything, or if you've got anything in mind.
I was thinking of like, so taking these would be like single quality people and songs that didn't make singles.
Mm-hmm.
So like not the like if Olivia Rodrigo did have like an album out, it next week wouldn't be Driver's License. It would be one of the songs that didn't make it, but I still felt like it was kind of that caliber.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I have a couple of ideas in mind, and one I actually, again, soft prediction, think you might like.
Okay.
It's it's not 80s synthwave, but I think it's something that you would appreciate.
Okay.
And like based on what you know about this person, fairly familiar or limited knowledge, you would probably enjoy this kind of a moment in her career.
Interesting.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I've actually put together a playlist, and I've been going through my music library, and every time I come across something that I really feel like it's a good deep cut, I put it in that playlist.
Okay, very
and
cool.
I'm filling the playlist up, and then I have to go back through and like see, and I've almost narrowed down 3 songs for next week.
Very cool. I'm
But
excited.
I'll get like excited about one, then I go, oh, that reminds me of another one. Then I'll go put it in there and like, So, I mean, you like Kid Rock, right?
Love him.
Okay.
Love him.
Well,
You know what I love more than Kid Rock is the Brian Posehn joke about Kid Rock. He was talking about like listening to Kid Rock on the radio, and he was saying like he was pissed that you couldn't say faggot or retard anymore, and Brian Posehn was like, "Oh guys, Kid Rock can't say his 2 favorite words anymore." And he said, I think he should be the only one who's allowed to say it, but he has to change that song, "My Name is Kid Rock" or whatever, to like, "My name is retarded faggot." Dude, Brian Posehn, Kid Rock, go listen to that joke. It's fucking hilarious.
yes.
One thing I did want to say is, just speaking on playlist, I've started the Spotify playlist, talked about it earlier, but if you're listening to this episode, we're going to kind of release a couple all at the same time, so there will be more than 6 songs on it. It's the acronym for our show, Lemon Squeeze and Deep Cuts, so it's LSD, and then the C is in parentheses, so LSD parentheses. And that's just branding 101.
And that will be, the YouTube channel will be Lemon Squeeze and Deep Cuts, just written out. So you'll be able to find it. There'll be a link in this podcast to the YouTube if you want to look at us. If you don't want to look at us, I don't blame you. Well, Brendan's kind of a good looking fella, but
look at these thighs. So, and we'll be updating you as these episodes come out. Like, and these first couple will kind of come out in quick succession. So once we have an Instagram up, we'll have an email up. We're taking care of all that in the background of right now. We just wanted to come in today and get things started. So
yeah,
dude, thank you so much for doing this. This was so much fun.
This is fun. I'm ready to do it again.
Dude, me too. Can't wait for next week. Unfortunately, we got to come up with more songs. I feel like I'd be no. I just like I'm in that mindset where I'm like I could do another episode, but I don't have any.
Yeah, I don't have anything right now ready.
so
next week, but I think we can put the bow on this first one and send her out to sea.
Dude,
awesome.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Right here.
All right, brother. I love you.
Rock on.